Desiccated, the cracked salt flats of Owens Lake, located in between Badwater Basin, the lowest part of North America, and the highest, Mount Whitney at 14,000 feet. High and dangerously dry, we were staring down at the deepest valley in North America. Getting lost is one sure way to die in Death Valley, one of the hottest places on Earth. Or the alkali storms which blow up nearly 4 million tonnes of dust per year. The land of little rain. Ahead, a challenge to take one Bosch-equipped EMTB into the vast volcanic unknown. No place then for an adventure to go wrong, but was it a place for an EMTB in such extreme conditions? Having left the campfires and ridges of Downieville gold, we were now at the base of one of the key silver mines in the whole of California. The mission then was to get there, but could our kit deal with such conditions? Could the Bosch bike deal with range, altitude, and of course heat? We were now exploring new frontiers. We had ventured south on Highway 395, said to be one of the most beautiful in North America, passing the 100-million-year-old granite of Yosemite, the lakes of Mammoth, the salt marshes of Lake Mono, and the towering peaks of Sierra Nevada, never too far away.
And what a location this is. We've got Tumaniguya to our right here, which is Mount Whitney, the highest peak in the contiguous United States, 14,505 feet.
And close to here, I'd heard of the ghost town of Cerro Gordo, once the most important mining towns of the West Coast, producing high-grade silver, lead and zinc ore.
So what's the relevance then of Cerro Gordo, where we're heading up today? Well, there's this little plaque here which says, Cerro Gordo, discovered by Mexicans in 1865, was at $17 million Inio's wealthiest mineral producer. Silver, lead, zinc, water and supplies all went by mule train, tram, the Bessie Brady boat across Owens Lake and Remy de Dow mule teams to build the Pueblo of Los Angeles. So, quite a spot.
Our weapon of choice today is the Cannondale Moterra, 160mm travel with a Bosch 625 watt-hour battery. I'd be carrying 4 litres of water, 2 spare batteries, one for the cameraman of course, up one unbroken 9,000 foot climb to the ghost town and then to the summit. Such a ride requires range and a powerful drive to deal with rider and pack weight and heat.
I'm the leader, and I got all the boy sandwiches in the backpack, and let's go.
There is only one way to Cerro Gordo, and that's up one relentless dirt track. Today would be a trip soaking in what's all about me, rather than what's under the front wheel and immediately in front.
You might be thinking, quite a different type of climb to the technical steep single track that we normally do on the channel, but with 7,500 feet to climb, which is kind of double the highest hill in the UK, then I'll tell you what, double track is fine by me. We've been climbing a few miles. It was quite interesting how the temperature changes when you go from out in the open like we are now, just about to go into a canyon, and suddenly the temperature plummets. I mean, it's early December here in Nevada, and although it's pleasant in the sun, first thing in the morning is super cold, definitely sort of fleece weather. What this section here gives some idea of the gradient involved. I'm in EMTB because there's no way I'd get up there and eco or tour, not with this double battery backpack. No chance. Well, I've been climbing for ages and it's just not even making any impact on this hill whatsoever. It's in the last pitch and I'm beginning to question, I think I'm maybe getting affected by the altitude at the minute.
Wow, it is simply so vast. And I think Mount Whitney at 14,500 feet is possibly affecting my perspective a little bit, because that's kind of the height of Mont Blanc, I think. And in the Alps, you definitely get, it would be kind of closer in, because things are so, the horizon is so massive here. This 7,000 footer just looks tiny. So you might be wondering, why are these boys out in Death Valley in December? Well, I'll tell you, back home at the moment, the average temperature for December will be around about 5 degrees and the rainfall about 150 millimeters. Like I said, that is just for December. Out here, the average temperature in December is probably 4 times that, around 20 degrees, and the rainfall, 5 millimeters. That's for December. So if we were to come here in July and there's an average temperature of around about 50 degrees and 0.1 millimeters of rainfall, this British body probably wouldn't be able to cope very well. But hey, enough about climate. Let's crack on up this hill.
Luckily, it wasn't July, and don't for 1 minute underestimate this place. You need to be incredibly well prepared in any part of this region. There is no water, and there's few places to recharge, hence the spare batteries.
So after several hours of climbing on my battery in Torn E-MTB, I've just run out of juice, literally 50 meters from Cerro Gordo mine. So I'm just going to swap it out, because I'm certainly not going to try to pedal into the village with no juice at 7,000 feet.
And with safety in watt-hour numbers and a motor that had stayed incredibly cool under intense pressure, I sauntered into town.
So we've arrived at Cerro Gordo, or translation is Fat Hill. And it's here where in the heyday of around about 1874, 1875, there was between 3,000 to 5,000 people living here. They primarily were mining for lead and silver. I mentioned at the bottom of the hill that this place was worth $17 million. And the main reason for that is that lead in the past was worth a lot more money than it is today. Things such as drain pipes and weights and bullets and such things as that. What's quite interesting, there's actually a village down the bottom of the hill called Swansea. Now the reason it's called Swansea, it was named after Swansea in West Wales, and silver used to be exported from here down to the bottom of the hill up to San Francisco and transported to Swansea in West Wales to be converted into sterling. A gentleman by the name of Bryn, obviously from Wales, who's now restoring the hotel to its former glory. And down there in the valley now, that actually used to be 100 square mile lake. Today, probably no more than 3 mile square lake. Right, let's talk about lead, shall we? Now here is the raw material, galena. Now you pick this up and it looks pretty plain, but then you turn it around and you see that shiny crystalline background there. If you compare the weight of this to, say, a normal rock of the same size, there is a massive difference in weight. And here is an ingot of lead, and apparently it weighs over 50 pounds. I can't actually lift it up. They used to produce about 400 of these a day. So you can imagine that this place here, like I mentioned earlier, is worth $17 million, which converted to today's money is about $500 million. This place was super important in terms of minerals, that's for sure.
I was getting pretty consumed by the history of this bonkers town and the rocks on which it had succeeded. But then geology is part and parcel of every EMBN adventure, be it with Danny McCaskill in northwest Scotland, the towering peaks of the Alps, or perilous Italian limestones. The type of rock determines the quality of the ride, after all.
Wow! Square top nails. If If you know, you know.
I don't know what spring rate is on these. We've got diamond or tungsten carbide drill bits from around about 1900s.
Early
Roger.
1900s.
Wow. Things haven't really moved on that much, right?
Not much.
I think they were pretty clear on their wheel size back on the day. But you know what? I'm not sure what plate she's on.
And so, having got monumentally sidetracked, the light was fading fast, but still time for more pleasurable climbing to the summit and the prospect of a view over the whole of Death Valley. The day was far from done. We are now on the top of Cerro Gordo Peak, and we have got Mount Whitney still behind us, and I've flicked this way, come over this way. We're around about 10,000 feet, and then looking back in this direction, we've got Badwater Basin, Death Valley itself, and then just a vast expanse of desert. What? Have you seen all that? Those notes in that. This goes back to 2017. You can see Alessandro Welsh was up here with Gabriel Furumoto. We had immersed ourselves in rocks, mining and vistas in the land of little rain. This had been a trip all about the all around rather than the what's in front. We had bathed ourselves in the experience rather than the ride, and in the Bosch powered Cannondale, the perfect bike for an adventure. Now you might be wondering, why use a full suspension bike? Well, the answer to that was not too far away. Yeehaw, partner! Wow, this is mental. In some ways it's actually scarier than doing a slower technical single track descent because speed is ludicrous. This descent is like pretty fast. And so just a few thousand meters to the conclusion of this slightly different EMTB experience. It was crazy that within 48 hours we'd blended some of California's finest trail gold with the silver-lined horizons of Death Valley. The mid-travel EMTB is the perfect adventure tool, the Bosch motor strong enough to deal with the heat, the height, and of course, the ballast.